everybody. This is Maggie from the Positude PowWOW. And this week I have a very special guest I'm really excited to have on with me. His name is Joey McCaffrey. Joey and I have been friends for maybe 3 years. We did an event together out at Hotel Utica here in New York State. And we got to know each other and his friend Anthony Simonelli. And we actually did a Halloween kind of ghost investigation event together. And we had an absolute blast. And the one thing that struck me immediately was that these were very good people. They were two hardworking family guys, very much in love with their families. They were talking about their kids and their life at home in the city and their experiences that they've had with ghost hunting. And we really had an awesome time and getting to know each other. We became friends on Facebook. We keep in touch that way. And the one thing that struck me about these two guys is their sense of humor. They always look at the bright side. They're always happy, joking around, messing around. And no matter what comes their way, they always seem to maintain a really positive outlook. And I keep in touch with them too with the stuff that they're doing down in the city insofar as their investigation team, which is top notch. I actually used their team with me this past October at a local theater. Joey wasn't feeling well at the time, so Anthony came all the way up from the city for me and did a phenomenal event with me. Very, very professional, very organized, but still at the same time, you know, he was the same integral guy. He had that sense of humor, the personality. And, you know, as I said about both of these gentlemen, that's what really struck me is just they're really good, genuine, down-to-earth people, love to have fun, love to have a good time. It was a great event, and I love being able to keep in touch with them and remaining friends, you know, just from that one investigation we did back in October together. You know, we've been able to do other functions together, hopefully more things in the future. The reason that Joey wasn't able to attend the event is because he was having some health issues that I had known about for a while, but I really, in the beginning, didn't know all of the details as to why he was sick and what was going on. And then, you know, Anthony told me, Joey's really sick and he needs a heart transplant. So it was that point that I started to pray for him and his family, watching his Facebook. He's the kind of guy that no matter what happens, he makes me laugh so hard. His sense of humor and his outlook on life was always so positive throughout it all, through all of the struggles that he's had to have and that his family's had to face. And then as a sideline of that, when he was really ill, I actually friended his wife and got to see her posts insofar as her spirituality and how the faith that she had has carried herself and Joey and their family through these very difficult times. So I'd like to bring in Joey and introduce him to you and let him tell his story basically about how he discovered he was sick, the issues that he had. How do you even find a heart transplant? How does that happen? And his journey along the way and why he's still with us today. I truly feel it's really a miracle from God that he's here with us. And I'm sure his family feels the same way. So let's bring on Joey. Hey, Joey, can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. Thank you.
So basically, yeah, I wanted to bring you on and talk to people about, you know, your experience, how you got sick, how you found out you were sick, and then leading up to your heart transplant and the issues and problems that you faced since then. Let's tell everybody what you did for a living and what your life was like before you got sick. How about that?
Okay, sure. I worked for the Long Island Railroad. I was actually a trackman. You know, I worked a gazillion hours like most of us these days. Never had a problem, never had a health issue. And then they started with high blood pressure. They said because I worked too much, I wasn't eating right, was never sleeping. So I said, all right, so start with the high blood pressure. And then about a year and a half later, 9/11 came about. I was with a volunteer fire department, and I went down to 9/11. I worked there for a while. And then I was also doing environmental work with another company on the weekends. So between that and all that, I was fatigued out and whatever. And they wound up telling me that, you know, your heart fraction rate, pretty much to how much your heart can pump, is decreasing pretty fast. So I was like, Yeah, all right. So what's the big deal? So then they told me, no, it's getting worse. So they kept pumping me more medications. Well, eventually got to the point that I couldn't even do track work anymore. I was out of breath. I was dizzy. I was pale. So they wound up giving me light duty, and eventually I got to the point I couldn't even do that. About a year into that, they wound up giving me more medications, and they told me, we're going to give you this device. It's called LVAD. The LVAD basically is a heart pump. They insert into your stomach, and you're connected to 2 batteries.
What's it called?
LVAD, left ventricle assist device. Yep. Right after I met you is when they put it into me. Mm-hmm. And basically, it replaces the function of the heart as far as how much it can pump. It's doing all the work. You're still getting oxygen, blood through the heart, but the heart can't really pump as much, so that's where the pump comes in.
Okay.
So that went on for about a year, and then in March I was in and out of hospital all year. That's why you never see me. And every time I was taking pictures of something funny in the hospital, because I was living in the hospital basically, bothering the nurses, doing silly stuff. And then
seemed like you'd be home a day or two, and then you'd be back in the hospital.
Exactly.
Like most of your time was spent in the hospital, in and out and in and out. And I felt, oh my gosh, you needed for home. Yeah,
it was like that. You know, I was getting weird, random infections. Then I had to have an IV put in me. So every noon I was doing IV at my house. Then I had some other blood issue which they couldn't figure out. Then they were telling me maybe you're doing too much, because even that device, I was outside mowing the lawn, power washing the house. I couldn't care less. Nothing stops me. So I'm like, whatever. Well, unfortunately, this March that just passed, it wound up getting to the point that I was passing blood clots through my kidneys. So then I was in the hospital for a few weeks. And then when you're in a hospital, they connect you to a monitor. Basically, you can see how the pump functions. And everything was going off charts. So, you know, my wife's going back and forth to the city. And basically, I have an autistic child. He's 16. So my daughter's always trying to watch him. And my older daughter's 19 in college. 19 going on 30, and so she's always about, and you know how hard that is.
Are they all 19 going on 30? It seems like you're all 19 going on 30, right?
Yeah, they know everything, you know how it goes. So basically, then he came to me and he like, you know, your kidneys are failing, your heart's failing, the pump's failing, we got issues. So about 2 weeks into it, they turned around, it was in April, and he says, we got a situation, Joe. This is not what you're going to hear. So I'm like, well, what now? Something's going to fall out my butt. What's going on? You know, I'm laughing about it because that's just me, but I'm like, now what?
That's you.
You know? Yeah, you know, what else? So he's like, something this week's going to happen. 2 things. Either your heart's going to fail or the pump's going to fail. So I'm like,
wow.
And you're telling me, so I'm kind of screwed, I guess, in a sense, you know? So I'm like, so after he leaves the room, usually it's a whole team of doctors. And I'm like, so I'm sitting there like, now, the only thing I always keep with my sanity is I'm always laughing. I have my headphones on. So keep in mind that at the same time, when I'm in the hospital, I'm always going around to other people with LVADs or heart issues, and I'm always the one to talk to them. They always have me talk to people like to expect, not to expect. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, because that's the kind of guy you are, and that's what drew me to you that night. Out of all the people in the room, and you know, they had I don't know, Ghost Hunter there, and Christus is there, our buddy, he was there, and he was a hoot, you know. You know, it was just, you know what, and the other thing that struck me too is that on, like, especially your Facebook, you know, always, you know, doing something for other people. You were always helping someone out. If anybody had a jam, you know, you guys were the ones that would go and bail them out and help them. And when you said that earlier about, here you are working full-time for the railroad, and it's a union job, right? So the way that you explained it to me is that, you know, you've got to kind of wait for a bit, and if you get the job, you get it. But if you're not physically able to work, you can't do the job, and so you lose that money, right? You're not working. But imagine that in itself can be a very stressful environment. But here you are working a full-time job with an autistic child, as well as what we would call a normal child, trying to, you know, raise your family and be with your wife. And here you go, there goes Joey off to 9/11 to volunteer for the victims of 9/11 and to help with that. That's just the kind of guy that I saw right away immediately in you. You know, always were a giving, caring person, and always had that sense of humor, which really, really struck me. So, so here you are, and dealing with Can we talk about the autism for a moment? Does your son really understand what you're going through and what you've been through? Does he get it? I mean, that's got to be a whole separate issue for your wife and daughter to deal with as well, without you being there, because you're very close to him, right? So how did that work for you? How did that work for him?
Well, as you can imagine, it's hard. We're not going to further it any more than it is. Every time someone would bring him up to the hospital to see me, here I am joking around, wearing a funny hat or doing something funny to make him laugh. And, if he's seen me, he's fine, but in the back of his mind. So one day he actually told someone, he's like, is my dad going to die? What do you say? So everybody's like, no. And, I would tell him the same thing. Look, Dad's fine. Don't worry about me. I'm cool. Blah, blah, blah. You say what you say. But even when he would come to the hospital, he would barely say a word to me. I would get dinner or something like that beautiful, lovely hospital dinner. And then sometimes I would sit there and I know he's coming up. So I'd try to get like something simple like a salad or a hamburger or something that he would eat. And we would sit down. I'm like, hey, you eat it, So this way we could have a little time, And my wife would go out and have a couple of cigarettes because she's nervous as heck. So me and him would bond a bit. It's hard. He would come down and he would shut down. Joey does that. If he's uncomfortable with a situation, he just shuts down. His OCDs get worse. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
That's typical for children.
In their own way. Right. It was hard, And then when they would send me home, he's happy as heck, of course. But, he knew, like, if I was going on a ghost hunt or something like that, he knew, like, in the back of his mind, if he's seen that red suitcase, I was lying, I was going to the hospital, So I kind of, eventually, I was going in now so many times, I would just tell him the truth, because the first few times I was able to kind of fluff it up a little bit. Yeah, that's going on investigation, But then it just, eventually I was there so much, it just became second nature to him, so he was getting used to it, because, my wife is here, my daughter's here, and my mother-in-law is here, too. She lives with us, so he had people around, plus our family, nieces and nephews, so everybody pulled together and made it even better for him. But it wasn't easy.
That's essential, right? You need that family base, you need that background, and thank God that you have kind of the perfect storm going on here. You're the breadwinner of the family. You're supporting the household. You've got an autistic child. You've got a daughter. Your daughter's in school, right? She's in college?
College, yeah.
Yep. And then you've got your wife who's trying to deal with everything and run back and forth to the hospital, because which hospital were you at? Would you like to tell everybody?
Mount Sinai.
Your wife's journey there just to get there every day. What was that like?
Well, we would make it every few days, because it costs too much to go back and forth with gas and tolls. And then, trying to cook for my kids and stuff like that. So I tell her, look, don't worry about me. Just every few days, show up. Make it easier. Yeah, it was expensive, plus, she's got to take care of the household, with the kids and all, the pets. So, and Joey, my son, needs that structure,
Right.
So I made sure that's why I said, look, every few days you should come up. Don't worry about me. I occupy myself in the hospital. Where am I going to go? So might as well just do that. Yeah. Half the time I was walking around the hospital so much doing things, they would page me on my cell phone because they knew I was never in the hospital room. How many patients gets paged, right? But
you were visiting other people there and making people smile in the hospital while you're in the hospital sick yourself. That's so cool to me. How long did it take her to get there back and forth every day that she came?
If you go in rush hour, it takes a few hours. I live in Long Island, so basically, if you were to leave like 5 o'clock in the morning, argument's sake, you could get there by 6:30 in the morning. If you leave noontime, it's going to take you a couple hours to get there. If you could, like the other day, I left at 3:30 out of Manhattan to come back to Long Island. I didn't get home till 10 to 7. So a lot of traffic.
During that time is when your other family members and help step up and take care of your son, because he needed that stability. Being autistic especially, he needed that routine. He needed the stability. So the challenges there that you've had to face, your whole family, and the fact that they were able to pull together is just, like I said, it's amazing to me. Let's talk about when you were in the hospital. So here's the doctor telling you, okay, either the pump's going to fail or your heart's going to fail. And you're like, okay, what do I do now? What did they offer you as options? I mean, I'm sure they told you at that point that a transplant was possible, but I mean, what did that involve?
Well, basically, he says, you're going to need a new heart. So now you're on an emergency list. Now, when they tell you they put you on the heart transplant list, basically it's telling you you're in the system. Okay, you are on a actual list. It doesn't go by like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not like that in a sense. It's all by priority. But basically, in my case, I'm an emergency situation. I have anywhere from an hour to a week. Nobody knows, but it's that bad. So basically, what they presented to me was this option. They could transport a heart in a box. It looks like a big Tupperware. And they take the other person's heart. Yeah, it's a trip. And they put it in this box with 2 pints of blood. And they can circulate the blood and the heart's still pumping. They could put it on a plane, a private plane. They could go 6 to 8 hours back to the hospital and transplant this heart. So I was like, you gotta be kidding me. This is awesome. Sign me up. So I was the first person to be signed up in Mount Sinai for it. So
That's cool.
yeah, now it's on Easter weekend basically, and something like that. And this was on like April 15th. April 18th, they came to my room, and he says, now I have my headphones on. I'm just kicking my feet up, just doing whatever I was doing. So, it's a waiting game. And he says, hey, Joe, guess what? I'm like, I don't know. I won the lottery. What? You actually gave me some real food. And I'm just throwing jokes at them, and they're like, seriously, no, we found you a heart. Now, keep in mind, for them to find me a heart, you have to be the right stature, the right height, the right weight, blood type, of course. Now, there could be some mismatches, but for the most part, I need a heart pretty much the same size as mine. So I couldn't take something like yours and put it into mine. I can't take a smaller person's and put it into mine. In that, I've been praying like anybody would be praying, you know what I mean? I have the nuns and different people coming in from all over the place. I even had some guy that was a Buddha saying some stuff with me praying, which everybody was puzzled the way he came from. I don't know where he came in, but he came to pray with me. I even had a Jewish guy next door. He came to me and he's like, I know this is not normal, but you want me to do a little prayer with you? And I'm like, hey, it doesn't hurt me. It's brownie points, So like I said, I had everybody praying for me, which was amazing. So I made the phone call. Everybody screaming, crying. Oh my God! And so I had my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, the kids up, some family members. We're up in the house. They're basically prepping you up, shaving you up and all that good stuff, and you're in a little gown. And yeah, I shave legs now. Kind of cute. So it still didn't grow back, which I think is kind of weird, but that's another story. So, but it's cool. So basically, it was like 1:30 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning, and they were like, all right, we're gonna come up now and take you downstairs. So you say goodbye or whatever. And I was like, wow, and meanwhile, this whole thing is surreal. It's like, to me, it's just another day in the park. That's how I approach things to me. So you get the family and everybody, like I said, we all did a quick prayer, and then they bring you downstairs. So they bring you to the doors, and they tell me, you ready for this? And I was like, yeah, let's do this, And then when I woke up, it was a 12-hour surgery. long surgery. And then basically you wake up like a train hit you. That's how you feel. I woke up like they removed the LVAD, my defibrillator piece. They had all that, so I had tubes and everything all over. So I woke up a few days later, basically. It's a long surgery. 12
hours, did you say?
Yeah, 12.
Wow.
Yeah. Believe it or not,
wow.
12 hours. Like in my case, they even put chest plates in me. So I was like, what's those titanium plates for? And they were like, well, the doctors actually asked us, they were telling me the story, and they were like, so my surgeon turns around to the other ones, and he's like, do you know McCaffrey? And he's like, no, why? He goes, this guy, trust me, put the plates in, and we're going to make him bionic because I'm so active, And, you wake up to some family members. It took me a couple of days to kind of really focus on them because I didn't know who was who. But that's basically it. And from there on, you're in ICU for a few days. Actually, I should say more like a week-ish. And then they send you to a private room, and you're there usually for the week-ish. So on April 18th, I have my second birthday.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you wake up, you have drain tubes, you have all these. You look like a robot, Your legs are weak, and what they try to do is the physical therapy is like, all right, let's walk. I'm like, what? So I'd put like happy stickers on my butt, because you can't wear. I usually get dressed at all times. Yeah. So I had everybody laughing. I was walking around as bad as I felt. At least I was making everybody laugh.
Right.
I couldn't wait to put my clothes on. Every time I'm in a hospital, I'm fully dressed. Cologne, dress, hair done. I have to be. So I wasn't in my element at all, but it hurts, like I said, my wife, she slept up there almost every night, and she would help me everything from either reaching over to get some water or whatever I need to be done, even washing up is a mission, that lasts about a weekish, 2 weeks, and then you're able to kind of do it on your own somewhat. Yeah. Not fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about when you were going through, you said before surgery that you had a whole bunch of people that were praying for you, and that you even had a Buddha guy come in. I don't know, where would you ever find a Buddha guy? Something? Ghost hunting group?
It's funny. No, this is a Buddha monk, believe it or not. He was walking in Mount Sinai. There's a little atrium. They have like trees and all. It's a glass area. So I had my headphones on, and there was two of them. They came up walking, and there was a lady next to him. This guy was talking, but the other two didn't really talk. They were just praying. So the lady came up to me, and she's like, would you mind if we pray with you a little bit? And I was like, why not? I won't mind, which was really spiritual. Man, I never had anything done like that, So I was like, I'm the only one out of this whole hospital they actually stopped for, believe it or not. I want to find them later on. And they usually don't enter hospitals. So call it what you want to call it, which was pretty amazing to me. I had people from all over. I mean, I had people I sold lights to, the IR lights I used to make, ghost hunting groups. I had churches call me. I had local groups. I had more people pray for me than I could even imagine. I had people come to my room that I had talked to them in the past about how they, in the hospital, things to expect with the LVAD or other options or things like that. Their families came up to see me in the hospital.
Wow.
People were calling from all over, calling ICU to see how I was doing. It was overwhelming. I mean, and every so often I have different people come into my room and say, you want to pray a little bit? I'm like, now mind you, a few years back, I'm religious, but I'm not one to sit down and just pray. I'm not.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Over the years, I started seeing what these miracles are all about. Years ago, I would have been like, yeah, okay, skeptical. But I'm not going to lie, you know me, and it's amazing because you really do see miracles. Whether it's a miracle just putting a smile on someone's face or making someone's day or you getting healed. Let's face it. I mean, I was amazed. I'm still amazed.
That's great. Now, how do you think you got all these people? I know that your wife on her Facebook was asking different people to pray for you and your family, and, putting posts up on Facebook that, different steps of your procedures and what you were going through and things like that. Was it her that brought a lot of those people to you to come in to visit you in the hospital to pray, or was it just word was getting out in the hospital, do you think, that you were going to be the first recipient of this, heart in a box? I think of the old school, you remember Jack in the Box down there?
Yeah.
When you say heart in a box, right?
I mean, if you look online, it basically looks like a big Tupperware, huge. But I'm thinking like McDonald's in a box. I'm thinking all these good things. I'm like, a heart in a box. I'm like, what kind of sense is that? But again, it was pretty amazing. But as far as the law of attraction, the law of prayer, all these things come about. I mean, you throw it out in the universe. We know that saying, what happens, you know what I'm saying? It will come back to you. And it's amazing because people were reaching out to my wife that my wife doesn't know, that someone had said, look, I know this lady, her husband's going through something, and they had mentioned it, and it passed on and passed on. People in the hospital put me into their prayer groups and on Sunday masses. I even had the local church, believe it or not, come up and send a representative just for a few hours to talk to me that found out from someone that goes on Sunday church in Manhattan. I mean, me, I'm no one special. We're all special. I'm just average Joe. I mean, I'm not a movie star. Yeah, really, exactly. I'm no one special, but it was. I still get choked up, amazed on how many people were pulling for me and calling me and sending me things. Everything from the prayer blanket to crosses. Anthony gave me things. Friends gave it to me. I mean, family members I haven't never talked to in years got back to me, which was amazing. 30-something years I haven't talked to them. And it took something like this to come through, you know what I mean? So it was really amazing. It was.
that's just extraordinary. And that to me, again, you know, it speaks to me of the power of prayer, the power of having faith, you know, just basically the power of prayer. Here are strangers contacting you and your family. Very strange experiences, like you said, the two monks that just happened to be walking through the atrium and were drawn drawn to come to you to ask you if they could pray over you or with you. Those are gifts that, you know, we really, it's unfortunate for a lot of us because, you know, we don't think about something like that until we actually, unfortunately, sometimes get sick and we need that. And that's when it kind of triggers something inside of us. Well, you know, we might not pray every day or, you know, like you say, you're an average person. A lot of us go through life, you know, where we're just like, okay, life is good, so we don't need that background. We don't need that faith in our lives. But when something happens, you know, what do? We ask for that faith. We ask for those prayers. You know, we ask for that comfort around us. And, you know, I think that with you at least, you know, you may not have gone to church every week, but you were living a very spiritual life in itself because you were the kind of guy that, like I said earlier, you know, if someone were stuck or needed help, you helped them. You know, you and Anthony did things, kind things for people. You know, you volunteered at 9/11. You know, on the grand scheme of things, the destruction that was caused there, and the amount of people that were brought together and volunteered and helped during such a terrible time for our country, those people, to me, are the real heroes, the ones that went in and gave, you know, especially your situation, like I said, working full-time, having a family, having an autistic child that didn't understand where's dad going, you know, you're going to volunteer for these things, and still, you know, through it all, you did what you needed to do to help other people, what you were drawn to do to help other people, and therefore, that all came back to you when you needed it, right? And your family, you know, never lost faith. I think that, I think that they, you know, the background that your wife had and the praying for you continually and just, you know, being the type of person that I understand that she is in person. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting her in person yet, but I do look forward to that. Mm-hmm. You know, that's what it's all about, you know. It's amazing to me. And I believe it truly is a miracle.
Sometimes, unfortunately, an incident has to happen to bring people closer or just to open people's eyes. When bad things happen, it does. You know, for example, 9/11, we'll just say something like that. It brought everybody together. You know what I mean? If there's a house fire, you know how many people will donate clothes? You know, do you need this? Come in my house. I mean, we are all good people. Yeah, there's some bad apples. It's just going to be the way it is. But sometimes we just need our eyes to be opened a little bit more to become more spiritual or just to get that little extra push, you know? But for the most part, everybody is the same. We'll volunteer our time. We all donate our time. You know, we all pray in our own ways. I mean, you know, I wake up every morning, I pray. I do. You know, and every so often I hear a song that reminds me of something with me and my wife. I pray. Years ago, not
that's
so much.
Awesome.
But
that intervention. Well, stop.
I'm not gonna lie, it's the truth. You know,
right? That's a sign. Really, things like that. Music is huge with me. You know that. When a song plays on the radio that you have a certain memory to or that brings you closer to a person in your life, I mean, those are signs. I believe those are truly signs. You know, I don't know how many times when I lost my cousin, you know, from cancer, it was, she had diabetes that stemmed from kidney problems. She had heart stents put in. It was a very long process for her. And I actually, you know, insofar as the donor thing, I knew in my heart that I would be a suitable match for her as a donor. I just knew it. I always knew it. And we had set up an idea. She came up here to visit me, and she says to me, look, you know, she says, I need a donor. And she said to me, my brothers can't do it. Her one brother had heart problems and had stents put in on his own, you know, in his own body. And her other brother, she didn't feel would be a good candidate. And she said, I need somebody. And I just knew. I said, look, I know I'm going to be a match. But the way that it worked for her was you have to be, in order to be able to be put on the list for a kidney donor, you have to be cancer-free, for like a year. So because she was still struggling with the issues from cancer, and then as a side effect of that and her heart problem, she developed diabetes. Unfortunately for her, she didn't make it through that whole year cancer-free before the kidneys, you know what I mean? So I knew it, and I said to her from that time, I can remember exactly where I was on the night that I took the phone call from her, and I can remember I was outside and I was listening to a friend of mine play piano at an outside venue, and she called me, and I could tell you pretty much every song he played that night on a set list, even now, or 6 years later, and maybe even closer to 7. I can remember that whole night. I can remember what I was wearing. I can remember the feel of the breeze off of the water. And she called me, and I said to her, look, don't worry about it. I've got you. If this is what you need, we'll do it. We'll get through it. And so I just knew I was going to be a match for her. But unfortunately, like I said, the way it happened, she wasn't cancer-free for that year. And then when she beat the cancer, she beat the diabetes. Are you kidding me?
Wow,
she lost her weight, and she had several surgeries. And what happened with her was actually her heart is what ended up giving out, because she was under a lot of emotional stress, and she was fighting with her boyfriend. I was actually on the phone with her. I was on the phone with her the night that it was going to happen, and I felt it, and I knew it, and I kept telling her, you need to calm down. You're too upset. This isn't good for your health. You're too frail right now. Don't argue with him. Just walk away. We talked for 3.5 hours on the phone. It was the night before my daughter's 2-year college graduation. And I actually was laying in bed. I felt when her heart stopped. I felt it happen. And the next day I had to get up and drive like an hour and 45 minutes to where my daughter was graduating. And I knew when she passed. And I was waiting for my family to call me, right? And I'm driving to my daughter's graduation. I didn't want to tell my daughter and ruin her graduation ceremony. And so we went through the graduation, and I sat there, and I knew. And my daughter told me afterwards she felt my cousin there, because the last thing my cousin said to me regarding my daughter was, tell her I love her, tell her I wish I could be there, but, I'm really sick right now. I'm not able to travel, but she's always in my heart, and I love her. Make sure you tell her that. And that was the last message she had from my daughter the night before when we spoke on the phone. And so I went through graduation, and I knew she was gone, and we got back to the house when my cousin actually first called me and told me what happened. And I knew it. I could feel it. I felt when her heart stopped in the night. I felt the pain. I felt what she went through. I felt her get up in the morning, and I felt when she actually finally, she just collapsed on the floor. But what I was starting to say before was, like, with music, there's a song, and every time I hear that song, it reminds me of her. And there are a couple of different songs that'll come across the radio, and immediately I know that she's still there watching out, and she still hears me, and she still feels me praying. So yeah, and actually it's kind of funny because that guy, I'm getting choked up now, but that guy actually would play that song, and like he played it that night, and like my eyes just like filled with tears, you know what I mean? Because it was almost like we had that connection where he knew how much that song, you know what I mean? That, and it was just, it's crazy. Music's huge. That's a big way that right? And like, so music's huge. You get that, you get those, that's another way that I think that we get those little affirmations is when a song comes on the radio at a particular time, and it, brings back memories, and, with you, it reminds you of your wife, and that not so much anymore. I don't buy that for a minute, because I know, I can feel how close you guys are. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Especially now, after everything you've been through, right? So.
Yeah, been through a lot. The last few years have been rough.
Yeah.
But it's always good days, though,
And look at that. See, there you go. You still got that positive attitude, and I know that you guys, both of you and Anthony, always looked at life, for the good things. How about now? I mean, right? I mean, your whole outlook has changed, right? Even more so. How incredible is that?
Yeah, it definitely has. It definitely has. I mean, even like with Anthony, Anthony's been going through, he's on disability now. I hurt his neck and shoulder from work. He's all banged up. But, he has his moments too, So what's funny is because, not saying he got hurt is funny, but what I'm saying is, I said, look, maybe you need to go to church a little bit, Maybe you need to clear your mind, because we always vent to each other. So on Sundays now he goes to church. He's been feeling a lot better.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, he's been going to church, and, it's opened his mind a lot more, He's starting to relax a little bit. Mm-hmm. And it made me think, because he has all these stories, between the ghost hunting and other things that he came across, you're home now. Dude, write a book. I was like,
right?
If people could write a book about how blah, 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 you can write a book about blah, blah, blah. Write a book. I mean, don't care how you write it, whatever. Let someone else deal with that. Write all your stories down.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to, we've been trying to coordinate this for 3 months now, but I'm definitely going to have the both of you on together, and we'll do a whole episode on that and what your experiences are like doing that kind of stuff, and, your friendship and, the bonds that have grown there. And look at that. Now you were able to help him, and that's helping him, on his life path, which is awesome. Yeah. Let's talk about, if we could for a minute, I would like to be able to share some of your GoFundMe information, because I know that you didn't start the page. I know that you didn't have anything to do with it, but I also know that, just alone, again, the medical expenses involved in having an autistic child, and then you being the only person, the breadwinner in the family, the steady breadwinner, trying to support your family. I can't even imagine the amount of medical bills that you must have incurred with the surgery, especially it being a pioneer surgery, right? So, I know that your friend started, and I know you're not the kind of guy that would ask for it, but I know that your friend started a GoFundMe page. And so I'd like everybody to be aware of that page. All you have to do is type in Joe, Joe McCaffrey. Now, he spells it with a capital C, but on the GoFundMe, it's MC small c AFFREY. So please, anybody that's listening tonight that's drawn to, even if it's a couple of dollars, please go in there and support this beautiful family, because it's truly a miracle what has happened, I think, for these guys, and they deserve it. If anybody deserves it out of so many people that I know, it would be Joey and his family right now, because, you're not able to go back to work right now. I know that you're physically feeling stronger, but I can't even imagine, as I said, the amount of medical bills that were incurred there, and that, that's just another thing that you have to worry about. So if we can just give a little bit to Joey's family to help them get by and help them, pay for necessities and help with their medical bills, it would be so truly appreciated. And so again, it's GoFundMe, Joe, McCaffrey. Please support him and his family. And let's talk about, no problem. Are you kidding me? And like I said, I know that you're not the type of person that would normally even mention that, but it's important. You need it, and that's what it's all about. It's all about helping each other, in our times of need, right? So
it's true.
With the surgery now, let's talk about the good part. Okay, so you come out of surgery and I know you were jonesing for a cigar, because Joey smokes cigars, and that's one of his favorite things to do. But
man.
How was that whole rehabilitative process? And I mean, I'm sure you had physical therapy. I saw you posted pictures walking down the hall, in your hospital gown and steps. And how was that for you? What was that process like?
Painful. It took a little bit more out of me, as far as equipment-wise, other than just regular surgery. But so I was sore. And basically, what they want you to do is, once you're someone in ICU, you kind of want to be alert. They want you to sit up. So they want you to stand up, but you don't really have your legs. Your legs are wobbly. They want you to sit down in the chair. So basically, a couple of times a day, that's what I was doing. Then once you get to a private room, so that's about a week's worth of that, And then they monitor you, because basically they want to see how, my heart would race out of nowhere. And they would give me some medicine and they would lower it down. In my case, it did it 4 times, give or take, in a few days. And eventually they started giving me the medicine and the body started working together. So I didn't need the medicine anymore for that. So little by little, now you're on tons of rejection medicines and all this other stuff, steroids. And so when you get in your private room, basically they come around, they're like, let's go for a walk. So then you do your little shuffle around, you walk. They have these little mock-up staircase, maybe 6 stairs. You walk up and down the stairs. It's just trying to get your legs back together and the breathing. That's the hard part, So you got to do breathing exercises. Just walk. That's all they would do, is say walk and walk. So I go around to all the nurses and press the buttons on the walk around and just bother everybody. You know what I mean? I would make, I'd blow up gloves and toss them around like it's volleyball. I just tormented everybody. But, those are the good days. And the bad days, you get like a roid rage, they call it. It's from all the chemicals that were pumped into you. Now, mind you, I went into surgery 270 pounds. I came out of surgery 318 pounds.
Wow.
So they puff you up. Plus, you're all bloated.
That was a big heart, huh?
Yeah.
That was a giant heart, right?
So my legs were huge, my feet were huge. I mean, it was horrible. But so there've been a couple episodes that you just get anxiety would build up, which I never had in my life. I didn't know what the heck that was. Basically, I heard of it. Mm-hmm. You get the shakes, depression. Now, mind you, right after surgery, my wife had to put down my dog in between all of this going on.
Right.
So my mind was 100 places. Then I'm listening about my son in school because he's doing bad at school because he's shutting down, and this and that, and this is broken at home, and then so my mind is racing. So at the same time, you get like this roid rage, they call it, and you start lashing out. Like there was this one nurse, I apologized a million times, but they were trying to get blood, but my arms are so swollen you can't find a vein, and I'm all bruised up and everything. So those days were the bad days. You know what I mean? The good days are when you basically, they give you the pain medicine and you sleep all day. You take naps. Hey, can't complain, right? But other than that, you eat your 3 meals, you walk about, and when they let you go home, they don't even give you physical therapy. And I was like, what do you mean? They were like, Joey, you're so active, just do what you do best.
Wow.
Okay. So you walk around.
What was your first meal? What was your first meal? I want to know the first thing that you were able to eat that you really, really wanted.
My wife actually, she went to the pizza place. So she bought a meatball hero, right? And I didn't really care about food, to be honest with you. I was like, because, the medicines will mess you up. But it looked so good. It was so good. I ate half of it. I didn't care what I feel like. The doctors came in, they were looking at me like, good for you, So that was pretty much the best meatball hero ever,
I can imagine. Oh my gosh.
And
the anxiety, the side effects from medication, not to get you off track there, but Italians, we love to talk about food, right? So
yeah.
The side effects of the medication, the fact that you had to go, that was another struggle in itself. Now you're dealing with side effects that your body is kicking out and making you into, changing your moods. My gosh, making you be the person that you didn't want to be, but it wasn't your fault. You didn't have control because of the side effects of the medication that they had to get into you, which there's a whole other saga and a whole other struggle, and pain meds and how you deal with that. I mean, you're not even on anything anymore, are you?
Believe it or not, even in the hospital, I would only take, like at first, I'm like, yeah, give me this, give me that, whatever. And then after that, I'm like, all right, I'm good. Just give me like something small from after I do the exercise because I want to find out I have an upper hernia from previous, which I didn't know, so that they can't really do anything. So you had that pain on top. So the more walking you do, it would hurt so bad I couldn't relax. So they would just give me like a little pain pill. But I asked to get off everything. I wanted to deal with the pain because then I know how much I can push myself. Otherwise, you're dopey, I didn't know where I was. I don't like feeling like that. So give me something that'll take the edge off just a slight bit, but keep all that crazy, powerful stuff to yourself. I don't want it. Even when I was home, they gave me a bottle and I would take one every so often. The more I did, my insides were hurt. I would take something to go to sleep or something like that. That's about it. But other than that, I didn't want anything to do with the medicine.
Well, that's amazing too, because so many times we hear struggles of people who come out of surgery and go into physical therapy and they can't deal with the pain and they become, as a side kind of battle, it's
a true struggle. That's horrible for people. I can imagine. Definitely.
Becoming addicted to the painkillers, and then, the side effects of those medications. It's just, thank God that you were able to do that you had the strength of character to know that, that you could get along without it and you struggled through it and dealt with the pain as best as you could.
The only thing you do get is anxiety. Anxiety from the medications will give you anxiety. I mean, from time to time, I feel like what I get like that. I get like nervous out of nowhere, and I'm like, I guess that's it. They say pretty much. But I mean, that's really, the side effects of the medicines are horrible. Like I'll have shakes really bad. I'm starting to get better now because they're starting to lower my dosages every month or so. They lower a little bit more, lower a little bit more. But I'm on a bunch of steroids and prednisone and Zoloft. There's medicines like that. Just they create that nervous sense. I don't know. You will get anxiety out of nowhere.
And there you go again. There's another struggle. somebody that didn't have to struggle with anxiety before dealing with that, and how to, recognize that, okay, medicine not me, and having those effects, that's struggle there, because anxiety is a very totally mess. And how are you with that? How do you type it? Do you go outside and get active? Do you pray? Do you spend time with your family? How do you work through that?
I follow everybody in the family. I laugh at everybody. That's how I get through everything. But, I break chops, I do, whether I cook, I go outside. I'm always doing something, mowing the lawn, painting. I got a million things on the home, so trust me, I'm always doing something. Working on the garden, doing my grass. I'm always busy, even when I'm sitting still, I'm always doing something on my spare time, the ghost investigations and stuff like that and clients, so that keeps me busy. Basically, we just have people over, you know what I mean? So we always have people over in the pool or doing something. I got my little blow-up pool, it's kind of funny, but it works. But, we have people over, and as long as you're surrounded by friends and family and you laugh, I'm good. And the days that no one's around, I'm fine also. In the beginning, I'm not going to lie, like I told you when my dog passed away, I'm not a very emotional guy in a sense, but then I was crying. I was weeping like a baby, and I was laughing at me. I'm manly, But, all jokes aside, though, medicine like that can play games in your head, One of the things when I visit people today in the hospital, whenever I go there, they ask me, what do I do about how am I going to go through with this? And these are real questions of everyday people that are expecting to feel things like this or heard things like that, And I tell them all the same thing, This is what I told you, friends, family, keep yourself busy, Stay off the drama of certain Facebook things and whatever. Join a club, live life up, go to the beach. You got to be careful with the sun because the medicines we're on kind of enhances cancer cells. So I tell everybody, just lather up a bit, bring an umbrella, go to the beach. I don't know, do something, go to a carnival. But enjoy it. You got a second chance, whatever the case may be. Go, even if you're still sick, go out. You know what I mean? It's easier said than done. There's people I know that stay in bed every day that can't deal with things, and I feel bad for them. I mean, it's a real struggle. We hear things on TV about, famous people, singers, but all right. So basically, what you want to do is you want to keep busy. You go out to the beach, like I said. You go to the park, go to a concert. I mean, there's local concerts. There's spend time with friends and family. I don't care what it is. Go to a barbecue. You don't know someone, crash the party. Who cares? The best way to beat anxiety. And I've known to do that. I've done that. Trust me. You know that, Maggie. Just do it. Just go out there. I mean, I know people lay in bed, and you know how many times I'm calling them, or I'm like, come on, let's go out. You just got to do something. Like in my case, I'm tapped for cash right now because of all the medicines and blah, blah, blah. You know something? It doesn't matter. You could go to someone's house and have a good time just laughing. You don't need money. You don't need nothing. You just got to get out there. I mean, especially in my case, I keep busy mowing. I like I said, I do everything. Power wash. I go to people's houses and do work on the house. I work on my car. But you got to keep busy, without a doubt.
And that's what gets you through. That's what helps to.
Yeah,
that helps you with your anxiety. You're keeping your mind active. You're staying focused. And again, through it all, you're staying positive. And I think that's so important for people to remember is try and maintain that positive outlook. And like you say, when you're not feeling good, call up a friend. Make sure that you vocalize to people how you're feeling. So many times, like you hit on it again earlier, and that's a sore spot with me is the musicians, and the loss of lives that we're seeing, people being depressed and committing suicide. Now, I have my own personal take on some of those musicians. Some of them I don't really necessarily think committed suicide. I think that as time goes on, we'll find out that some of them actually were off. That's my personal thing. But, you see the struggles with anxiety, and what people go through. And so many times they feel so alone, and there are 100 people, contacts in their phone at the touch of their fingertips. Call someone. Like you say, go to somebody's house, crashing parties. That's you. You're really.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That is so cool. It's funny as heck too. I can see you guys doing that. I totally can. You guys just walking up to somebody's house at a graduation party or something.
I'm bad with that. I'm real bad with it. I don't care. Last few years, I'm like, I don't care anymore. What's the worst gonna happen? Half the time I meet some new friends. I mean, just do it. Who cares? You got to be a kid. You got to be.
Next guy.
Yeah, who cares? Live it up.
That's
just classic.
Oh, you make me laugh so hard. That's so funny. But yeah, that's essentially it, right? Is keeping in touch with your family, keeping your faith strong. If you don't have a faith, develop one, and absolutely, and be positive, and don't feel that you're bothering someone. If you need that help, if you need that, that hand up, don't feel like you're bothering someone. There's always someone available to you. You're never, ever alone. Call me. Call Joey.
Yeah.
He'll come to your house. Wash your car.
You can give him my email addresses. Yeah. People take my email. People could email me. I don't care. I have people email me all the time just from hospitals that are, positive, asking for like prayers or saying, look, do you have any extra bandages from when you had the LVAD or something? Me and Dana, I just went to the UPS the other day and we donated a whole bunch of equipment that we had and bandages, and we're always giving stuff away. I'm always paying it forward. Just like one of my medicines alone is $600-something. Just one of them. That's after the insurance. And another one I have is even more money than that. Well, it just so happened that they took me off one of the 5 milligrams, make a long story short. So I have a full bottle, brand new bottle. So I took it to the hospital and I was like, here, give it to someone that needs it. You know what I mean? And it would just so happen that one of the people that I do know needs it. So it works out. You know what I mean? But you got to just reach out to people. My motto is you got to laugh.
Yeah.
That's
amazing.
So if you could just help the next person with simple laughter or something like that, that's it. That's the ticket.
And it could be something so simple, just seeing someone on the street that looks depressed, smiling at them and taking that minute to talk to them and, ask them about their day. Certainly, if you want to give out your email, bro, go ahead and do it. I'll let you go ahead and put it on the air, and I'll give mine as well, because I always put in my shows, that people can contact me if they need something. I'd be happy to help them in any way that I can.
Yeah.
So go ahead, shout it out if you want to get it out.
If you want, you could get me at Ghost, GOTGHOST, the number 4, US at gmail.com. So it's gotghostforus@gmail.com. Yeah, and if someone just wants to say, look, and they got a question, what was it like for this? Or what do you believe this? Did you see God while you're, I had some amazing questions already asked to me already, but go for it. I'm one for a laugh, and I'm serious too. What?
That was actually, not to interrupt you, buddy, but that was one question I did have for you. Is so many times when people go into surgery, they come back with a near-death story or a near-death experience. Did you experience anything like that when you were under and when you were coming out or first going under?
No, I did experience some other things from people right 2 days before, to give you an idea. But after surgery, I guess I was on so much medication, I don't remember seeing anything or hearing anything. I even brought some of my ghost hunting equipment. Believe it or not, I had asked people to bring it up to me when I was in the hospital. And I was trying to see if any messages would come through or someone would come through, but all you hear is machines and all that. But no, I didn't see no light. I didn't hear nothing. Someone just emailed me a question too, believe it or not, last night. And he says, do you feel you have any effects of the person from the donor that you had? We were just talking about that, my wife and us. We were just talking about the same subject. I don't have any different thoughts. I don't have any different urges yet. I didn't take up knitting, I didn't take up skiing. I don't know, I don't think I do yet. You know what I mean? I'm still waiting. Also, one thing is with a donor, you could write a letter to the donor and they could write a letter back to you. It goes to a certain organization and they could pass the letters to you if the person chooses to accept it. So I don't know the history of the donor yet, but I wrote my personal letter to them. You don't give them too much information because there's some situations that have happened in the past. So you make very short letters, and if you choose to go from there, that's your option if you want to do that. But I signed my name on the bottom of it. Hoping to hear what it is, but I like to know more about the person. No, I haven't seen no light or anything.
Well, that's okay. You don't necessarily have to. It's just a question I had for you. And you answered that was my final question for you, and you nailed it, was, are you able to contact the people and find out anything about their background? Yeah. And do you have any, I've read some articles where people, do have cases where they have, some behavioral changes or food cravings that they never had before, and stuff like that. So if you wanted to go down to Chinatown for Kung Po or something, all of a sudden I'd be kind of worried about you. You know, I'd be like, oh man, he's picking up those characteristics of the previous
I'm Asian,
Harpers,
right? Yeah. No, it's weird. When I had the first heart surgery last year, I had a craving for lemon and everything. It was still my original heart. It's just different equipment put into me. I had to have everything sour. So I was like, wow, I can't wait to see what happens now. What am I going to have? Hot sauce. What am I going to have a craving for? And I'm actually don't have a craving for much anymore. I'm like, I'm kind of waiting for that one day. No, I don't know. I'm boring now. I'm like, man. Yeah.
I don't think you could ever be boring. Okay. That's so funny. Man, this has been a great experience. It's been a heck of a fun ride. This has been my favorite interview, I'm not going to lie, to date. I mean, we have so much fun. Awesome. You're such a great guy, and truly, the blessings from your family, your wife. I can't wait to meet her in person someday. Maybe when you guys come up here and we do some more work together. Absolutely. As always, you're all more than welcome to stay in my home. And and we'll cook Italian foods and play some cards and maybe drink some wine, and always welcome. Bring her with you. Bring the kids. Honestly, anytime you guys want to come up, even if it's not just for work that we're doing together, just to visit. I'd love to meet her in person, because her face, her positive attitude through that whole ordeal was very inspiring. Not for anything, but it was really awesome to see how very much two people can truly love each other and carry each other through, hard times, and the prayer, and and the asking for the prayer, and just everything, and being able to keep it together on the home front. It's just, that's what it's supposed to be like. That's what it's supposed to be about. God bless you guys for having that kind of relationship. I think that's awesome. It's something to be admired, and it's something to be truly revered, and you got that faith. You know what I mean? That's amazing. So, but honestly, this has been a great time. Thank you so much for, for number one, being so open. No, really, for being so open about everything and talking about your experiences and how you felt, and, the struggles that you've had to undergo personally and as a family unit, and, just your sense of humor, everything. And again, please, if anybody can support and do anything, even if it's a couple bucks, GoFundMe, Joe, JoeMcCaffrey. And then, as always, the music provided to you tonight is by an original artist. He's an awesome guy, originally from Louisiana, and his name is Pat Carr. And please check his stuff out at SoundClick, and you can reach him at pwcar@cartoons.com. Give him a listen, and, buy his albums. They're wicked cheap on SoundClick, and the guy's totally amazing. He's allowing us to use his music for I use his music for all of my introductory and closing, and a lot of the intermission songs too. So please give him a listen and give him some support. We'd really appreciate it. And again, I encourage anybody out there in original music that's got anything out there to submit to me, please send it to me at Maggie_Hart@outlook.com, because I'm looking for something really specific. It's got to be kind of a certain kind of feel. I've had a lot of submissions from metal and some heavy rock stuff. And while I love the music, I appreciate all of the stuff that you guys are sending me. I'm not able to use, it just doesn't fit the format for the programming that we have here. But I appreciate it. And I'm always able to listen, happy to listen. Also, too, as Joey was saying earlier, if you feel alone, if you feel like you need somebody to talk to, email me at Maggie_Hart@outlook.com, and get a hold of me. And, if we can't help you and make you feel better, we'll get you to somebody that can. You're never alone. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Joey, thank you again so much for being here and for coming on and being just your usual awesome self and funny guy. Thank you again, and I wish you all the health and happiness and even stronger recovery and just all of life's blessings. I really do, buddy. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Maggie. I appreciate it.
Pleasure knowing you. No, thank you. So there you go, everybody. That's our Positude powwow for the evening. We hope that you enjoyed it. Check us out next week. We're in rotation, first and third Sundays of the month. We do the Positude Podcast, and then we interview for the powwow, which is what you're hearing tonight. And then on the off weeks from the podcast, we alternate between the PowWOW and Positude Passages and Positude Prophecies. So if you get a chance, check those out as well. I hope you enjoy them as much as we enjoy being able to bring these shows to you. And so thanks again, everybody. Have a great night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.